show you the curve tools. So let me show you some of the techniques of how we can generate geometry out of curve using curve tools. And I'll start just by showing you where we can find the curve tools and how to use them. That's the first part, and then we'll see how we can generate some geometry. So here's let's see, we can go to my create menu here. So here's a create menu tab, and there's like curve tools. There are some curve tools that they changed the organization in 2016, but overall it's the same stuff. So we have CV curve tool, EP, Bezier curve tool. You probably know this term. Bezier is like a curve tool, like that type that you use in Photoshop. We have a pencil. We have some arc tools to create circles, or arcs actually, not circles, but you can actually make a full circle or you can make parts of a circle. Let's start with the CV curve tool. Anytime you see a menu, you can also break it apart, right? Remember, you can actually go and click on that dashed line and break it apart. And all these windows break apart. That doesn't mean that they don't exist up here anymore. They're still there. It's just it's a copy of the window. So I have my window here, and I'm in the viewport, and make sure you're in legacy default viewport. You have the wireframe unshaded on, and I'm gonna make some curve tools on the side view, top view, on the orthographic two-dimensional views, not the perspective view. So if I go to the curve tool, always this little outline next to the tool is options. That means go to the options of that tool. If you click on just the tool, you go and start working with the tool. But if you click this piece, this little outline box, it opens up the options of this particular tool, and those are like the tool settings. So you can see here that you have 1 degree linear, 2, 3, 3 Bezier, 5, and 7. I'm gonna go and switch to another view. So I'm gonna go to my side view. So I tapped on the spacebar, make sure I'm like on legacy default, and then I'm gonna turn on the wireframe here. So here's how the grid, sorry. Here's how you turn on the grid. So here's the grid, and here's my CV curve tool. Now it's a linear curve. Linear means it's a straight line. You click and you make a straight line. This is all straight lines. Click, click, and then if you're done, enter. So I made a straight curve. Here's the straight curve. If I want to make another one, CV curve tool, linear, click, hold down the shift key. That restrains it only like, on 90 degrees. You can't go anywhere else. It's just if I'm holding down the shift key, so this is all 90 degrees. So that's another curve. I'm gonna go back again and do the same. So click. Now, let's say I'm here, and I want to go back a step. So you can press delete, so you can go back a step if you want to. Also, with the middle mouse button, you can start repositioning points. So if you click one, you can reposition it with the middle mouse. And you can close that. So I made another shape. Notice that the pivot point is like off sometimes, right? It's not exactly in the center. It's easy to fix. Modify, center pivot. That's always, So I got my shapes here. And what are these? Those are like just lines. I can go and create a line, and this time I can use the grid. So linear, turn on the grid, and use the grid snap. We didn't talk about snapping tools yet, but I'm just gonna show you that this is a grid snap tool. So you click that, and now everything snaps to the grid. So notice that I'm like just creating, and this is like a great way to design stuff. So everything is now snapping to the grid. You can do a lot of interesting shapes like that. And enter. So I made this shape. So turn off, whenever you have a snap tool on, turn it off. and then move it around. We can move the object around so we can actually get out of the magnet tool. Also, modify center pivot. Now the pivot is in the center. I'm going to turn off the grid and move this here to all these shapes that I'm working on. Let's do another shape. CV curve tool. I keep insisting with the same tool. I'm going to skip the 2 degree. I don't like the 2 degree. Nobody uses it. I mean, not many people use it. The most common degree curve is the 3. The 1 degree means like you click once and then that's it. And then you click another one and you get a straight line. The 2 degree means you start to make like an organic shape. The 3 degree, it's the same thing. It just has a little bit more resolution. So you click 1, 2, 3. And once you click the 4th point, you get like this shape. So we're kind of starting to get organic shapes now. So that's a more organic curve. Notice the pivot point is like somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and that's annoying. Go back and center the pivot, and then move stuff around. So I'm making a bunch of shapes here so I can show you guys. So just with curves. So 3 Bezier, it's like, notice that we have the same exact thing. Then what's the difference? Okay, let me center the pivot. Well, the difference is those curves, when we make them, here's the one that I had. This is the 3 degree, and this is the Bezier. Let me scale that. Let's go here closer to these. If you want to be closer to an object, you can select both and press F. So what's the difference between these two? Well, all the curves are also editable. We can edit them after we make them. So that means that we can actually, like the same with polygons, that we have vertices, edges, and all that. Here, the component mode, if you select, you have to be on the curve, exactly on the curve, and right-click, and you can see Control Vertex. So now you can actually, that's very convenient because you can actually reshape your curve. So I'm like grabbing all these points and like shaping them around, See, it's not closed. So that's like something we're gonna see in a minute. It looks closed, but it's not. But you can see that I'm like reshaping my curve. I'm changing the shape. You can also delete points. Let's say you don't want that many points over here. Select a bunch of them and delete them. So that's like, it's a pretty easy way to work. Now this one, this is the Bezier, 3 Bezier. If you go Control Vertex, I think that might remind you of something. Those handles are like exactly that, like the ones in Photoshop. If you guys have worked with Photoshop, then you get these like Bezier handles. So this has a little bit more, it has more tools to it. It has those Bezier handles. And so these are, now if you guys want to work with, so we got linear curves, we had a 3 degree curve and a 3 degree Bezier curve. Now I think that that's enough. If we go to the 5 and 7, it's a little bit too overwhelming. If you press 5, I never use it. I go CV curve, 5 degree. It's like you have to press so many buttons to get the curve going. So I'm not, and the 7 even more. So if you have to press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to get the curve starting. So that's like a little bit too many points for me. So and a lot of people don't really use them. So those are the linear and the 3 degree curves, and that's the CV curve. And the EP curve is the same thing. Notice that when you use a CV curve and you use a 3 degree, when you're clicking, notice that the curve is outside of, it's like a tangent. It's not exactly, it's actually, when you do that, it's not exactly on the point, right? It's not inside the point. So that's the CV curve tool. Let's center the pivot point. And the EP curve tool is nothing else but exactly the same technique. It has the same exact properties, but the way that you design the curve, the way that you click, the curve is always following you. The curve is always going through, it's like the thread going through the needle, like it's just always with you. And that's the difference. There's no other difference. Now the Bezier curve tool, it's like the Photoshop curve tool, and it works exactly like the Photoshop pen tool. That's it, and you probably know that and we can investigate them. The pencil curve tool is just a pencil and then creates a curve. The 3-point circular arc tool is like you have to press 1, 2, 3 points and then you get a circle. Very nice, actually. Very nice tool. And press enter. Now the 2-point is just 2 points and you make a circle. So those are curves that we can make, and those are great. Those are really great tools. You'll see in the future how you can utilize them. So that's for that. I made that. I recorded the screen so we have the video. Let me just close it.